Hello and welcome to Issa's first day school video. It's very fun to work with her today. She has a very great temperament. She's very smart. So I don't know much about her, so I don't know what she knows and what she doesn't know. I know that she does a lot of field work, but I know that you wanted me to work on prepping for the CGC test, so I just checked some of the things on that list. She has a great sit. I don't know if it's verbal or not, but she responds to a hand cue, which is just fine. So then I wanted to check to see if she knew what down was, and I'm going to feel a little stupid if she does know how to down, and I just could not guess the right way to ask her to down. But to my knowledge, she does not know how to, so that's how I approached the situation. So I tried a treat lure to the ground and waiting her out for a very long time. That did not work. She is very patient. So then I tried leash pressure downwards, where I just step on the leash and there's gentle leash pressure downwards, and we just stood there for a very long time. Usually dogs get a little bit tired of standing in one spot, so they just lay down, and then you can reward them when they do that. She just stood there for a very long time, so we stood there together. So neither of those approaches worked, and she's already so low to the ground, and it's a lot more difficult to teach dogs to lay down on command when they are so low to the ground, because they're already so close to the lure. So I went back and I tried the treat lure on the ground again, where you just hold it in the same spot. That didn't work. So then I pulled out my little trick, where I have the dog go under my leg. She was a little nervous of it at first because she doesn't know me. She doesn't know what the expectations are. So we had to build a little bit of confidence, build a little relationship before I could get her to do what she does later in the video. So I just get her comfortable with going under my leg without my leg really touching her, because she won't go under if it is touching her. So then I make the gap a little bit bigger for her to just run through and chase the treat to get through, or holding the treat in my open hand. It takes a little bit of convincing, but she's very smart, and she is pretty confident. I'm just a weirdo who is asking her to do these strange things. So we worked on that confidence building, relationship building for a little bit. And she was very actively engaged and using her brain the whole time, which I really enjoyed. She really was trying to find out what I wanted and how she could get that treat. I do like to include some repetitions, especially if we started at kind of step 0 and then made it a couple steps, just so you could see what it would look like if you wanted to do this at home, how you would start and what kind of progression you'd be looking for. Because if I just show you the end result, then you wouldn't know how to work on it at home, and you wouldn't see the amount of repetitions and time that we put into step 0 and step 1 and step 2 and things like that. Also, please let me know if you have any marker words for her, like yes or good or no or anything. Any type of commands that you do use for her already, or expectations or manners. She did jump on me, I think twice, but I stepped back and she looked at me and then she sat and then I pet her. So I think she knows what the expectation is. I think she just gets a little bit excited in the moment, but we'll keep working on that too. And I'll eventually have somebody come in with me so that we can walk up to that person and greet them politely, like on the CGC. So you'll see here, she finally did lay down. I threw a party for her. She starts by bowing, but the struggle that I was having in the first place was her getting her front legs down. So I rewarded for her bowing and then tried to hold her in that spot for a minute with a treat to her nose, and then she'd get tired of holding her back legs up, so then she'd put her back legs down and then she'd down. And then I could say, yeah, good job, Issa, good down, and then reward her repeatedly for being in that position. So just making sure to have a positive reward history with being in that position, even though it's kind of in a weird situation because I couldn't get her to down in other ways. So this is how I'm getting her to down, just getting her comfortable with going into that position. Ideally, I wouldn't have her sit and then down, so that's why I'm just doing it this way. I did try to ask her for a sit and then see if that would work, getting her into a down, but it did not. It's a very nice bow. And the more that we did this, the quicker that she decided to put her butt on the ground as well. So I could tell that she was catching on to what we were doing. And then so many repetitions because at first the dog's just following the treat, doesn't know what their body's doing. And then with repetitions, we can start to create an association that this movement is what I'm rewarding, not just you following the treat. So hopefully we can train that muscle memory and then start naming it. And then we paused and we worked on some sits. And then I moved on to handling. So I checked her ears, I checked her teeth. I held each of her front feet just to make sure she was comfy with that. She was very good for it. She was a little weirded out that I was touching her feet. But I made sure to give her a treat as I touched her foot. She's just so engaged, and her tail is always wagging. I appreciate that about her. And then after that big gap of time, which is longer than it looks in the video because I only take snippets out, then we went back to down, which is what we worked the most on. And I just wanted to make sure that we ended the session with remembering the most important thing that we worked on, or I guess the thing we learned the most. Not sure how to phrase it, but I just want to make sure that we ended on a good note with that and that she understood it. And then we did a little bit of leash walking, which at first she was a little distracted, but she caught on super duper quick and was turning with me. And so when she turns with me, and especially when she looks at me, I'll give her a treat. also love that the spots on her side make it look like a happy face. I just appreciate that. So then we worked on sit just for like 1 or 2 repetitions of adding a little bit of distance, since there is distance on the CGC. And all she needed was for me to step back towards her when she stood up and she sat back down, and then I'd step back, and then I'd return to her and reward her. But anyway, she did so super good. She's such a very sweet girl. Thank you for letting me work with her today.